going to carve maxillary central incisor today. Now, as you know, there are 4 maxillary incisors, 2 central incisors, 2 lateral incisors. Central incisors are the teeth which are present within the center of the maxilla. Their nasal surface are attached to each other, and lateral incisors are placed just beyond the maxillary central incisor. Today we are going to carve maxillary central incisor. It is the tooth with widest mesiodistal width in case of anterior teeth. So now, as you know, that there are 2 parts of a tooth, crown and root. So we will first carve the crown, then we will start with the root. As we finish the crown, we will start with the root. Now, regarding the dimensions of the tooth, the incisor-cervical length of the crown is 10.5 mm to 11 mm. The length of the root is 13 mm. Usually the root is 2 to 3 mm longer compared to the crown. Regarding the mesiodistal width, it is almost 8.5, and at the cervical region it is 7 mm. The labiolingual width is 7, and at the cervical part it is 6 mm. So now we will start with the crown. First, measure the height of the crown using a scale. Now it is almost 1 centimeter. We will just keep the crown slightly larger, or the length larger. We will keep it almost 11. Later on we can do any changes if required, but initially the crown should be slightly larger compared to the actual length of the tooth. Now I will just mark the height of the crown till 11 millimeter. I am just marking all the sides of the block. Then we will measure the length of the root, which will be almost 13 millimeter. We will mark the root. We will also mark the root from all the sides of the block, and the base part which is left is kept as a base of the tooth. So we have divided the block into 3 parts. First, the upper portion is the crown of the tooth. The middle portion is the root, and the third is the base of the tooth, or carving, base of the carving. Now we will start with the carving of the crown. We have to mark, initially we have to mark the surface of the tooth. First, labial, opposite will be the lingual. Depending on the side of the tooth, the tooth which we are going to carve, whether left sided or right sided, one will be mesial and the other side will be distal. Okay. Now we know that when you see a crown, the labial surface is slightly convex. It is the most wider. Mesiodistal width is wide compared to the other anterior teeth. So the crown is usually seen as a rectangular or square shaped tooth. Now for carving of the tooth, you have to mark the center of the block. At the center of the block should rest your incisor portion of the crown. Now for that, in order to rest the incisor portion on the center of the crown, when you carve the tooth, it should be slightly convex when seen from the buccal and when seen from the distal and mesial side. Now this is the labial side. When you are going to carve, you should carve so that a convexity is created from the cervical portion to the incisor portion, as well as keeping in mind that the incisor ridge of the crown should be placed at the center of the block. So I am just carving the tooth so that the incisor ridge or the incisor portion of the crown will be at the center of the block. And a convexity is created on the mesial side, which will be visible from the side. That is why the distal or the mesial side of the tooth. Now you see the crown, what I am doing. I am just creating a convexity which can be visible from the mesial as well as the distal side. Now this is the convexity. Now I have placed this incisor portion at the center of the block. Now this is a rough outline of the labial surface. You should know that when you draw a tangent from the labial surface, when you draw a straight line from on the labial surface, the straight line should meet at the cervical part of the block. Cervical part of the block, which will be the bulkiest part of the tooth. So when you draw a tangent this way or a straight line, it should meet at the cervical portion of the crown. Now this is the convexity. This is a rough outline of the labial surface. Now this is the labial surface, opposite will be the lingual surface. When you see the lingual surface from the mesial or distal side, it will have both concavity and convexity. The convexity will be placed from the middle to the cervical part, which constitutes the cingulum of the tooth. The incisor and the middle part will be, middle third will be the concavity. For that, in order to carve the concavity, just go on reducing the block from the middle and the incisor portion of the tooth, so that a concavity is created. Initially, don't touch the cervical third of the block or the crown portion, because we have to create a cingulum in that portion. So we are just reducing the block from the middle and the incisor part of the crown. We are keeping the cervical third of the crown intact, so that later we can prepare a cingulum. Now if you see the crown from the mesial or the distal portion, you will see that there is a concavity. This is the concavity and the convexity, both concavity and convexity. While on the labial surface, you will just see a convexity of the tooth. Okay. Now this is a rough outline for the lingual portion, rough outline for the labial portion. Now we will start with the mesial and the distal surface, which we will do simultaneously, because we have to create a tooth in such a form that when you see the crown from the labial surface, you will not be able to visualize any part of the lingual surface. Now if I am seeing this crown this way, I should not be able to appreciate the lingual portion of the tooth. Now, so for that, what we are going to do, we are going to reduce the mesial and the distal portion in such a way that maximum portion of the lingual part is removed compared to the labial part. So we are going from the labial to the lingual portion, labial to the lingual portion, labial to the lingual portion, such that a convexity is created towards the lingual portion, and the lingual portion will be smaller compared to the labial portion. Now this way, I am going to reduce more on the lingual part, less on the labial part, more on the lingual part, less on the now. This is, now if you see, the lingual portion is smaller compared to the labial portion. For the labial portion, we will slightly reduce the convexity. It is more in this crown. It is slightly more. Now we will just place an outline on the labial surface, such a way that the incisor portion will be wider compared to the cervical portion, so that shape of tooth is created properly. So we will mark an U-shape marking on the labial portion, such a way that the cervical portion will be smaller compared to the incisor portion. So I have just marked. Now we will reduce according to that marking, so that a proper shape of incisor is formed on the block. Proper shape of incisor is formed on the block. So for that also we are going to reduce the wax more on the lingual portion, so that a convexity is created on the lower on the cervical portion on the lingual side, so that a bulge is formed on the cervical part of the crown on the lingual side. Now if you see this rough outline of the labial surface as well as the lingual surface is formed, and when I am seeing the crown from the labial side, I am not able to appreciate the lingual side at all. So the lingual side is slightly narrower compared to the labial side. Now if you see the labial lingual width, it is slightly larger. So I am going to reduce it overall from the buccal as well as the lingual side, keeping in mind that I should keep the convexity of the cingulum intact. Otherwise it will be, the cingulum will not form properly. So the crown will not look similar to a central incisor. So we have to keep in mind that the shape and size of the tooth should not be disturbed and a proper crown is formed. So I am just going on reducing from both the labial as well as lingual portion of the crown, so that the proper shape and size is maintained for the crown of the tooth. So now I am just reducing more on the cervical portion from the labial side, so that a proper shape of incisor is formed on the labial side. That is, it should be wider at the incisor portion, narrower at the cervical portion. Now you see this crown, even if it is a rough outline, you can see that my incisor portion is slightly wider compared to the same labial side on the lower cervical portion of the crown. So this is the proper shape. Now we will do fine carving for this. In that, you should keep in mind that your mesial portion of the labial side should be straight, while the distal portion is slightly convex, and the mesio-incisal angle will be sharp, disto-incisal angle will be slightly rounded. So keeping in mind, I will do the further carving. So I am keeping the incisor portion of the labial side more straight compared to the distal. Distal will be slightly convex. So I am just reducing it overall. Now if you see my crown, a proper shape of the incisor is formed from the labial surface. Just I am reducing the convexity, so that some teeth will show that they are flat in the incisor and the middle part. Slight convexity is seen on the cervical part, while some teeth can show more convexity compared to the others. Now if you see, this is slightly more convex, you should reduce the convexity slightly. You see, now this is the shape of a incisor. This is my mesial portion from the labial side. This is my distal portion, slightly rounded. Also the disto incisor angle I will slightly more round compared to the labial. So if I see the the labeling width, it is slightly more. So I am going to reduce it more on the cingulum portion. It is slightly bulkier compared to the incisor. So I am just reducing it on the cingulum portion. Now you see the labeling width looks like an adequate width of the incisor. You see the convexity on the labial surface, and this is the concavity, and this is the cingulum. Cingulum is slightly reduced on this portion so that a bulk or convexity is created, more bulk is formed in the incisor. Now if you take a gauze and slightly wipe the crown, it will be more smoother, and you will appreciate the proper shape, size and structure of the tooth. Okay, if you see, proper details can be seen properly. If you see, this is the crown of the central incisor. This is the labial portion. This will be your distal distal portion of the labial side. This will be the major portion. It is slightly straight. The mesio-incisor angle is sharp. Distal incisor angle is slightly rounded. Now, you see from the side, you will see a convexity on the labial surface, concavity and convexity on the lingual portion. And from the mesial or distal portion, you will see the crown is wedge shape or triangular in shape. Okay, so this is the crown of a central incisor. Further, we are going to carve the lingual fossa. On the lingual portion within the mesial and the incisal and the middle third, you will see that a concavity is present, which is called as a lingual fossa. The lingual fossa is marked on the three sides by incisal ridge, mesial marginal ridge and distal marginal ridge. For that, we will just use the opposite portion of the carver and create a concavity in the middle and the incisal portion of the crown, keeping the margins intact so that a prominent portion of the margin can be seen, which will represent your ridges, the mesial marginal ridge, distal marginal ridge and the incisal ridge. Just wipe out the excess wax from block. We are going to carve. For that, you can do a marking also, so that the borders of the margins can be very clear. So you can see this is the fossa of the crown with intact incisal ridge, mesial marginal ridge and the distal marginal ridge. After this, we will start with the root of the tooth. Now you see, this is the crown of the tooth. From the labial as well as the lingual portion, the lingual fossa, the cingulum. Now we'll start with the root portion. Okay, root portion. We have marked the height or length of the root on the crown. For the crown, for the root, when you are starting with the root should be such that when you see the crown from the incisor portion, the root should not be visible. The width of the root should be such that when you see the crown from the incisor portion, the root should not be visible at all. So we are going to carve the root. We just carve the root in such a way that the width will be slightly less than the So we are going to reduce it. You have to reduce it slowly, otherwise we might break the root of the crown. Okay, root of the tooth in the right side. So we are just going reducing it slowly from all the sides. So we are just reducing slightly at Teddy's jaw to form root. Because we have to reduce a lot of wax. See now, when I'm seeing the crown of the incisal ridge, I'm not able to see the root. Properly, not able to see the root. Okay, it's still slightly we have to carve it overall, but it's almost done. Now after this, we have to mark the cervical lines which separates the root from the crown from the root, and which marks the cemento-enamel junction of the tooth. So for that, now this is the crown and root portion. Now we will mark a cervical line which will separate the crown from the root. For that, on the labial side it is concave, as well as on the lingual side it will be concave. On the mesial portion it will be convex, slightly higher compared to the distal portion, slightly higher towards the incisal side, while on the distal it will be slightly lower compared to the mesial side. If you compare the mesial to the distal, the cervical line will be slightly lower. I'll just reduce more wax so that a proper separation is created between the crown and root. So you see properly is a crown which is separated by the ciliary with the root. Okay. Overall.